Today we will be heading from Rome to Helsinki on Finnair. We will be in business class and there's a lot to talk about in this flight, particularly in regards to the level of service. We start off by checking in at Terminal 1 in Rome. The check-in process was probably the most confusing and unorganized thing I have seen from an airline. No one from the company showed up until around 8:45 a.m., which was only 2.5 hours before the flight was to depart. This was extremely disappointing as it left guests checking in luggage with little to no time to access the lounge. To make matters worse, there was no dedicated staging area for business class or priority passengers. We only found out after that you simply stand beside the regular check-in area. We then made our way to the lounge, which was also very poorly indicated on which direction and which lounge Finnair passengers had access to. It ended up being the Star Alliance lounge, which was a little ways away from our gate. The lounge featured basic amenities such as food and drinks, and they did have a central bar at which you could order both alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages such as coffee. It was decent, however we didn't have much time before we had to make our way to our gate. It is important to note that they didn't have a shower or any of those type of facilities, but they did have a luggage storage. As you can see, the lounge was very hidden, and the only thing to indicate it was this little sign, and it was very tucked away into the corner. After our small bite to eat, we decided it was time to head over to our gate, Alpha 10, for today's flight. Where are we?
At the airport.
Where are we going?
Helsinki.
And then Bangkok.
Yes.
Boarding started around 45 minutes prior to the scheduled departure time. It started with both business and priority passengers, and the staging area for passengers at the gate was quite limited. I would recommend getting there or being prepared to stand as the seating options were limited. Today's flight will be on a Finnair Airbus A321 registered as Oscar Hotel Lima Zulu Tango. Business class passengers, you were greeted with a cold bottle of water as you sat down. It was a nice refreshing change from the room temperature water typically received on other carriers. We're on board business class. Way to Helsinki. Next it was time for pushback, taxi, and takeoff. If you'd like to continue with the trip report, it continues at 6:14.
To talk about safety. We appreciate your full attention, as this aircraft may be different from others you have flown. You may use mobile phones and other handheld electronics from gate to landing in flight mode and in normal mode after that, all marked with green and white exit signs. 2.
Once we were airborne, the flight attendants came around and asked what we would like to drink. I opted for the North Blush, which is Finnair's signature cocktail. It's made with lingonberry. I can genuinely say this is one of the best airline specialty drinks I have tried and would highly recommend to anyone. Next, we got to enjoy the views of the Dolomites as we headed north towards Finland. Now it was time for the real meal. I forgot exactly what the meal was called, but it was very similar to a chicken parm. It came with a chocolate cookie and a bread roll. However, most importantly, it was finally time to try the legendary Finnair blueberry juice, which I can confirm was delicious and definitely lives up to the hype. Overall, the meal was okay though, however, nothing spectacular. It was essentially airplane food. Starting off with the document holder, it contained the typical items such as the flight safety card. The seat was a very typical business class seat on a narrow-body aircraft, as the cabin was configured in a layout with 3 seats on each side of the aisle. For all my Canadian viewers, it was very similar to what WestJet offered for premium economy. We each were given a pillow and a blanket, which was also a nice touch as it made it a bit easier to get cozy. One thing I love about the narrow-body aircraft is the individual air conditioning vents. As someone who tends to be hot, it is nice to be able to cool down, especially on longer flights. Overall, Finnair's business class product on their narrow-body aircraft is a decent product. However, I genuinely can say that I don't know if I would recommend it, as the issues with the check-in process and the lack of attention to detail are of major concern when paying this fair price. The food was good and the flight attendants were amazing. I just don't know if it's completely worth it, but I would be curious to hear about others' opinions. So Brianne, where are we?
We're in Helsinki.
We just landed. How was the flight?
Finland. How was the flight?
Yeah.
It was really good. I fell asleep. I had blueberry juice, which was amazing. But it was good. Yeah.
We are currently trying to find the lounge. Don't know where it is.
Be sure to check in for next time as we check out the Finnair lounge in the airport before making our way on Finnair's A350 in business class from Helsinki to Bangkok.